Morning guys, Joel Frank here, market analyst at YouTrading, and today we're taking a look at WTI. I've got some technicals marked up here. As you can see, we're currently trading just to the north of the $60 per barrel mark. To the upside, we've got some pretty decent area of resistance. Let me just mark it up actually, if it isn't already clear enough. This area here, it pretty much, oh, blimey, I should have done the rectangle. Pressed on the wrong one. Here we go. This area here is what you want to look out for, because you've got the 21-day moving average, which currently trades around 63. And then you've got this resistance that turned into support and now is going to be resistance again, and now that's all in the 6300s. And then you've also got this downtrend, which is probably, I mean, it might provide some resistance, but that's the area you want to look at to the upside. To the downside, we've got an equally strong area of support in this area here, sort of just around the 59 to 58 sort of area. And that is support, and it has not turned resistance yet because we didn't really, well, I guess you could argue it was resistance all the way back here in early February. But basically, it's been support since mid-February and in mid-March. And you've also got the 50 DMA here as well, okay? So this is kind of like your range that you want to look at. And, you know, crude oil markets, people have been very, very bullish over the last couple of months. They've been bullish for fundamental reasons, right? So vaccine rollout's going really well, looking like we're going to have a good, looking like we're going to be able to reopen a lot of the world's largest economies over the summer, which is going to increase fuel demand, stimulus in the US and stimulus all around the world. Central banks remain accommodative. That's all on the demand side. And then on the supply side, it's been good news as well, generally speaking, with OPEC and them basically being flexible and willing to restrict supply despite the fact that these prices have been moving higher. And so, broadly speaking, the picture is still quite bullish, but as you can see here, there was this little sell-off last week, which I'll just mark up with an arrow. You can see these two particularly big red candles, the arrow's kind of over them now. But that is just a reflection of perhaps the demand side picture, in the long term, demand side picture is still pretty bullish, okay? We're still hopefully coming out of this pandemic now. We have vaccines, and there's still a lot of stimulus going around, but Europe is experiencing a third wave, and that really sort of came home to markets last week with France going into lockdown and Germany talking about another lockdown. The European vaccine rollout's not been great, so that was really a reflection of that. And we've also have seen some crude oil inventory builds in the US in the last couple of weeks, so that wasn't helping. But most desks anyway, you see Goldman Sachs, UBS, Credit Suisse, a lot of these institutions still bullish on crude oil in the long run. So you never know what's going to happen in markets. Maybe there's going to be a vaccine resistant, I mean, fingers crossed there's not, but maybe there's going to be a vaccine resistant strain of COVID, which could put us back to square one, which could, you know, take us right through all this support and down here. But if we do eventually drop back down here to this support in the 59 to 58 region, I do think there's probably going to be some dip buyers that are going to aim to target a retest of the top of this range, and potentially even, you know, a move back over the next couple of weeks or even months, depends how patient you want to be, but a move back towards these highs just above 68 that was set early on in the month for WTI. In terms of this week, there are some important events. There's a lot of Fed speakers up, but they probably won't move crude oil too much. There is US data, PMIs. It's not just in the US, there's global PMIs. That could move crude oil markets. We want to see good numbers, basically. If we see good numbers, crude oil markets should be happy. And then we've got some inflation data out of the US at the end of the week as well, which crude oil isn't the most sensitive to this inflation data. It's more bonds and the dollar that you want to be looking at if you wanted to trade core CPE at the end of the week. But the main thing for crude this week is going to be the theme of the pandemic. Okay, so vaccinations and the third wave in Europe and perhaps the potential third wave elsewhere. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. That's my take on WTI at the moment, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.